Are you sick of the childish YouTubing stylings of gamers that bitch and moan and feel self-entitled? It's crazy, it's rude, it lightens the mood. It's lightning in a bottle with a little attitude. I'm M.D. Fish Man Doctor, M.D. Fish Man Doctor, M.D. Fish Man Doctor, M.D. Fish.
Hey all, MD Fish here, welcome to the doctor's office. Today, for your listening pleasure, I present to you an open letter from a former nice guy. And for your viewing pleasure, some clips from a game of SMITE. Now right off the bat, I'd like to clarify that my being a former nice guy didn't usually entail me being a good guy. Sure, I said a lot of nice things and a lot of girls called me sweet. Hell, I maybe even met some of them. But my reasons for saying the things I said were what contended with me being a good guy. Let me explain. A good guy in the context of this commentary is exactly what it sounds like. A guy who's generally a good person, or about as good as a person can be. We're all flawed creatures, and we all have issues. A part of being a good person is being upfront about who you are instead of who you think you are or want to be. Nice guy, however, will mean something completely different. When I say nice guy in this video, I don't want you to think about nice people. I want you to think about the type of guy who becomes genuinely angry and acts irrationally in the face of rejection. You know the type. I was so nice to her for so long and she didn't return my feelings. Yeah, that kind of guy. We're also going to be discussing a term that nice guys tend to throw around quite frequently. Anybody know what that term might be? Show of hands, class. No, not someone else's hand, Jim John. Okay, you're right. The dreaded, gut-churning, nut-burning, fuck-your-feel-bads friend zone. The friend zone is a testy topic for a number of reasons. The biggest being that it's really up in the air as to whether or not anybody is really to blame for its existence. The friend zone is a phenomena that commonly occurs when a fellow is told by a dame that she only wants to be his friend, despite his desperate desire to bone her like a stripper at a board meeting. Okay, I'm being unfair. Some of these guys honestly just want a relationship that's fair to be with somebody. So we'll just stick with the first part of the definition for now. What happens oftentimes when a fella ends up in the friend zone is that he will gradually or spontaneously develop nice guy syndrome, or NGS. NGS is a staggeringly common form of entitlement that's more common in men with social issues, less than desirable looks, and, surprisingly, low self-esteem. NGS symptoms include, but are not limited to, an adamant belief that all women love assholes, irrational anger upon rejection, a desperate need to push the blame onto somebody else, bitterness towards the opposite sex, emotional instability, and a defeatist attitude. Now let's take a look at some of the causes of NGS. The first and most common cause I've seen is lack of objectivity. This is a serious problem in most areas of society. The inability to put aside one's personal bias and look at a situation from an objective point of view is human nature. But that's not to say human nature is an excuse for stupidity. Lack of objectivity here means that the NGS sufferer will often have a difficult time understanding the feelings of the person they desire. They will often base their actions on what they believe is the correct way to initiate a relationship, without considering that different approaches are preferred by different people. Their mindset is usually something like, if I do X, it should secure me Y. Usually, you'll find that whatever the individual's X is remains constant as their Y varies. A lot of NGS sufferers are one-trick ponies and don't often venture outside their comfort zone. And when they do, it could be a step forward or back, as an NGS sufferer who's rejected after stepping out of their comfort zone may not do so again. This doesn't mean, however, that the person rejecting the sufferer is in the wrong. You should never accept feelings that you cannot reciprocate. It makes things worse for both parties 100% of the time. You should always be straightforward with an NGS sufferer, and friends that you think may be suffering from NGS. Tell them you are not interested. What's worse, having an awkward moment because a guy you thought was into you wasn't? Or having the guy who is into you get angry after 3 months because his failure to be objective led him to believe that 3 months of friendship makes him entitled to a relationship? Always be honest, always be direct, and never sugarcoat. The second cause of NGS is self-entitlement. If a person has a history of self-entitlement, they probably also have a history of NGS. Keep in mind that at its heart, NGS is the belief that being nice means you're entitled to a relationship. People that have developed NGS from the second cause are often not even all that nice. Hell, these are often the guys you see calling women stupid bitches, bimbos, hoe bags, rag stackers, slags, sluts, skanks, semen stuffers, pussy monsters, cock crawlers, dick whisperers, sheet stealers, cheap speakers, peat eaters, and heat seekers. Not exactly gentlemen. The third cause, and occasionally a symptom of NGS, is self-pity. Self-pity is rampant among the rejected, and it is a vicious cycle. You get rejected, you pity yourself instead of figuring out why you were rejected and attempting to better yourself. You blame somebody else. Lather, rinse, repeat. These are sufferers that I have no pity for. Well, I don't personally pity any of these sufferers, but even less so when self-pity is involved. There's no excuse not to attempt to better yourself in life, and that's not even something you do for someone else. It's something you're supposed to do for your own happiness. NGS has a staggering effect on social issues, specifically gender relations issues. It splits the two groups more obtrusively than most topics, and can almost never be discussed without bad-mouthing and childish arguing. The problem here is that as long as the friend zone is a predominantly male issue, males who suffer from NGS will see themselves as cheated, as victims of a cruel game played by the object of their desires. A female dealing with an NGS sufferer is more likely to keep quiet about her disinterest, in the hopes of either avoiding the inevitable argument or because she doesn't want to hurt the sufferer's feelings. My advice to you ladies would be again, to throw that out the window. Being nice will not help an NGS sufferer get better, and it will almost certainly convince them that they have a chance with you. Now, I want to conclude with my advice to the sufferers of NGS who may be watching this. You might not like it, but this is how I turned it around. Get rejected. Over and over and over. Don't fixate on one girl if she isn't interested. Don't try and change your mind. It won't happen. Don't pity yourself. You're not a victim. Don't treat NGS like an illness. It isn't. It's a short term I made up in about 2.5 seconds to describe the stupid way you guys think. I know it's stupid because I was one of you. I've spent months upon months building on a relationship I knew in the back of my mind wasn't going anywhere. And you know how much that helped me? It didn't. I hurt people who come to trust me as a friend, and I felt like I was the one getting screwed by them, when I was screwing myself and everybody around me. You might feel like the whole world is crashing down, and you know why you feel like that? Because you tried to stay involved long after you knew it wasn't gonna work. Yes, there are women who will lead you on, and you will get hurt. You have to, that's how you learn. If you admit defeat instead of learning, that's up to you, but don't put it on other people. Get kicked and punched and rage stabbed in the heart pump 40 times until you realize that you are the only one to blame for your being unhappy. Whether you enjoyed it or not, I hope this commentary made you think. If you did like it, however, a like and a sub would help this cynical young son of a gun more than you could ever imagine. I'm MD Fish, now get the hell out of my office.
M.D. Fish, mad doctor, M.D. Fish, man.